ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another vloggy vlog. On today's vloggy vlog, I'm going to talk about the ownership of this gorgeous 2006 Ducati Monster 620 over the last 7 years. So let's jump right into it. When I got this bike, it had 1,375 miles. Under 1,400 miles on this puppy when I bought it 7 years ago for $3,900. I had to go about 6 hours north of New York City to Worcester, Massachusetts to pick this specimen up, and it was well worth it. When I first got it, it was my very first bike. I literally just got my license about 2 weeks before, and I didn't know much about motorcycles, but what I did know is that I wanted a bike about this size. I always loved Ducati. I always loved monsters. Never thought I could afford them, and when I found out the price, I was pleasantly surprised. And I sourced it, and when I saw it for the first time, it was like brand new. I thought it was a scam. I didn't think I could buy a Ducati Monster with 1,400 miles for $3,900. And it's too good to be true. So over the last 7 years, I put on 52,000 miles onto this bike. 52,000. Which is not that much on average. I mean, it's like a little over 10,000. No, less than 10,000 a year. But that mileage actually included 2 trips across USA, from New York to California, and then from New York to Portland, Oregon, and then I also went to Nova Scotia there and back, and you know, and it's my daily. I ride it year-round, 365, in the rain, in the snow, in the cold. Knock on wood, I have not had any issues with this bike, and besides the bunch of issues I'm going to talk about right now, but I'm talking about catastrophic issues. And at this point, I can say that because if I do jinx it, then you know, it's fine. And this bike has also been down. I was T-boned while I was going 40 miles per hour. By T-boned, I mean like I got tapped in the exhaust and I slid out, low-sided, but the bike is back together. So let's go over the 53,000 miles, 53,000 miles of ownership. And I'm going to try to do it in a chronological order, but obviously I'm not going to be able to because I can't remember anything. But I am going to go over all the upgrades that I did, and then all the things that I've replaced, and you know, because overall, because I did a video already about my likes and dislikes, and I love this bike. You know, it's my baby. Plenty of power, plenty of brakes, good enough in the turns. Obviously there's better equipment out there, there's better suspension, there's more power, but this thing for city riding is incredible. It literally packs the perfect punch. So long story short, one of the first things I changed was the exhausts. So these are MIVV GP. Obviously this is a bad one to look at because it's all scratched up, but these are MIVV GPs, and it's an Italian company that actually is not far from Terminoni in Italy. So, oh no, please don't block my son. Bro, what are you doing? I thought he was about to block my son. Anyway, so this exhaust compared to the stock exhaust is night and day. This thing is rappy, it's rappy, and if you're interested to hear what it sounds like, watch any one of my videos and, you know, weep in passion. So that thing, without that MIVV exhaust, this freaking bike is it's a crime, you know, because it needs to breathe, it needs to sing. And I think that exhaust was about $500-600 and worth every single penny. And I took out the DB killers because I need all the noise. Then another big upgrade that I did right away was Motodemic. Hashtag shoutouts to Motodemic. And this is the LED adaptive light. So basically, as you turn, go into corners, the sides light up, and you can actually see into the turns better. The stock headlight on this monster was garbage, so that light was just, you couldn't see anything. So this was a absolute must immediately. Oberon turn signals, LEDs, so those were a must as well because the stock ones are ridiculous. I got the CRG mirrors as opposed to like the Mickey Mouse ears, CRGs, and they're lane splitters, so they're real deal. They're good quality lights. Then obviously you have to do the tail chop, and I put in the integrated brake light and tail light from Moto Dynamic, I believe is the brand. I think it's about $100 or so. It's not super pricey, but obviously it cleans up the look of the bike incredibly well. Then another thing I did, I mean, we might as well do big and small. As far as grips go, I have these horrible chop job Vans slash X Cult BMX grips. These are literally bicycle grips, and you could tell that these are pretty worn out, so it's almost time to swap them. But the beautiful thing is that they're like $10, they're like $8. As far as levers, I just have like some $40 AliExpress levers, and my bike has been down, as you can see, but I replaced the mechanism, I kept the lever, and yeah, these are fine. You know, I don't see the need to buy super expensive levers. As far as my seat goes, I also have a look at that bus. As far as the seat goes, I have an extra comfortable Corbin seat, I believe. Yeah, that's a Corbin seat, and yeah, super nice, super jelly, so I can actually ride like 500-600 miles a day, which I have done on this bike, and that seat is great. Another huge upgrade that I did was the new fork. This is S2R 1000 adjustable fork, because Monster 620, as you know, does not come with a adjustable fork. So this right here is from S2R 1000, fully adjustable. It was like 5,000 miles on it, so I picked it up. And I need some new rotors, because these rotors are totally garbage. So let's see, what else did I added? The USB port. I got my QuadLock on here, you know, very important. Boom boom, with the charger, the dampener, super nice. Trying to remember what other parts I did. I also run Bridgestone Battle Axe T31 tires, because they're good in the rain, they're good in like all weather. Good tires, they last for a long time, good touring tires. I run the DID chain, and this chain is actually gold. I just haven't cleaned it in a while, so yeah, I need to clean the chain, absolutely. God damn. Alright, well, I gotta clean the chain. Another thing I added was these frame sliders, which are crucial, which are super important, because I've used them. My bike slid for like 30 feet down the street. As well as the front slider, as you could tell right there. We're still recording, good. So some of the things that I've had to replace, obviously I've had to replace the brake pads in numerous times, front and back, but whatever, that's brake pads, that's regular wear. Also tires, I went through Michelin, Pilot Road 4s, Pilot Road 5s, and now I've been using Bridgestone for the last 2 years, the Battle Axe T31s. Love those tires. Obviously, every 6,000 miles, you got to have a major service. Valves and belts. I do not know how to do valves or belts. Spam risk. That's fantastic. So I always pay somebody to do that. I should. My next one, I actually will do it myself. But yeah, belts and valves, done it a few times and always paid somebody. Oil changes, super easy. Boom. It's doing an oil change is pleasure. It's like you literally are just like cleaning your bike. You're giving it a blood transfusion. Another thing I had to replace after my crash was this whole header from here down there. That was also replaced. I've also replaced the rear shock over the years, because first time there's a tie rod right here, this thing right here, that regulates the height of your bike, of the rear of your bike, and mine snapped once, which ruined the shock, ruined the tire, and oh, ignore that. Yeah. So anyway, so I had to replace the shock the other year, and the spring, so that was fine. I also had to replace the sprockets front and back. I think I've done it twice, and you know, that's not a big deal. That's just wear and tear. Eventually you have to replace sprockets. And like I said, I have not had to replace my rotors yet, but I presume I will pretty soon. I've also had to put on the new one of these after my crash, because the other one just completely shattered. I also had to put on new bars. I'm trying to see if my fork was like leaking or something. I don't think so. No, we're good. I also put on new bars, because these are Renthal Ultra Lows. My other bars unfortunately bent in my crash. What else can I tell you about this delicious motorcycle? I've also had a crack in my screen here So what I had to do was actually, because the actual unit is mated to the bike, to the immobilizer and everything. So what I had to do is actually get a broken case with broken internals but working glass and swap them out. And so yeah, so I had to replace the screen. Other things I had to replace was the speed sensor, and which is for the speedometer, then also the rear brake sensor down here. And you know what, like everything I'm telling you, and this bolt is missing indeed, everything I'm telling you, it's like things add up. I would say it's easily like $1,000+ a year for maintenance, which is not even that much, probably more. And like, this is a labor of love for me. Like, I didn't get a Ducati to save money or to get value or something like that. I got a Ducati because I really, really wanted it. I really loved it. So money is money. Another thing I've replaced was all the spark plugs, obviously, and I've also replaced the coils and the coil wires, because my bike was running funny, so I replaced those. And most of the work like that I did myself, excluding the belts and the valves. But yeah, this is one hell of a machine. I really like it. I'm a big fan. I kind of wish I had a tripod so I can do like the classic pose, and hopefully this guy doesn't like run me down and destroy everything. But it's a labor of love, this bike. So did I spend a ton of money on it? Sure. Did I spend way too much money on this bike to maintain it and whatnot? I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you have a Japanese bike, it's cheaper. It's just like all around cheaper, because your maintenance is cheaper, your parts are probably cheaper and more available. Because this thing's a 2006, so to get parts, I have to go on eBay. I have to like search around, and sometimes you have to overpay, or sometimes you have to settle for something used. But overall, get the freaking bike. I mean, I've known some people with classic monsters, and sometimes there are issues, and some people do have lemons, but I guess I got lucky, you know. This bike, the fact that I took this bike to California twice, like just riding into the fucking wind, and you know, it still works, I trust it. Another thing I had to replace is the bearings in the front. The bearings were blown. I've also had to have a fork rebuilt once or twice, but that's what happens when you're riding in the dirt and just like being crazy and whatnot. To like everything I'm talking about, all the little parts, sure, they do add up. Major services are like $700 to $800. All the bearings and sensors and seals and things like that, gaskets. Because another thing that I did was replace the clutch, because after about 30 or like 27,000 miles, my clutch wore out, my clutch plates wore out, so I had to actually pop the clutch and replace it, put in a new seal, a new gasket. But that's easy as well. And but yeah, all those things add up, you know. It's like 20 bucks here, 30 bucks here, 50 bucks there, but it's not like astronomical, because this is like, as they call it, a baby Ducati. You know, it's like your beginner Ducati. It's simple. Everything is out in the open. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is freaky and scary. You can work on it easily. 53,000 miles, you know, like this is my baby. Like, if you watch my vlog for any period of time at all, you know how much I adore this bike. Like, I'm not selling this bike. I'm obviously going to be looking for a new bike soon, probably a Monster 821. That's the biggest contender, because I was going to do the Street Fighter 848, but I don't know. But I'm keeping this bike. Like, this bike right now is probably worth $1,000, you know, if not less. And there's no way in hell would I let this bike go for $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,500. This bike is priceless. This bike is straight up priceless to me, and I'm gonna keep riding it, you know. Like, I was gonna get a bike last spring, and then this fall, and then next spring, but at this point I already have 53,000 miles, and I might as well just see where we can go with this puppy, see what we can do. I'm more than likely forgetting something major, but you know, I'm going off the cuff here. Long story short, yes, I had to do a lot of maintenance, but like I'm saying it for the third time, it's worth it. And Obviously I have a job, so perhaps that's why I'm like, oh, whatever, 30 bucks for a sensor and 50 bucks for this and blah blah blah. But you know, it's you got to pay to play. And sure, you can get a brand new FZ09 or MT09 or, you know, a Honda of some sort, or a, you know, a Triumph. No, maybe not a Triumph, and just have zero issues, you know, and just like ride the bike and do nothing for it. Or you can buy one of these, and sometimes like your rear brakes don't work, or like lights don't work, or like this doesn't work or that doesn't work, and you have to buy a shop. I have a shop manual, which I bought immediately as soon as I got the bike, and when something goes wrong, you just like look up that part, and then look up the part number, you eBay that part number, and you see that part costs like $45, and you're just like, huh, can I replace this myself? Maybe, maybe not. And then you just go for it. It's not that scary, because I used to work on bicycles, and obviously motorcycles, there's a little bit more danger involved, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Anyway, ladies and gents, how much money did I spend on it over the 7 years? I bought the bike for $4 grand. I probably spent like another 8 on it. Who knows? 4, 7, 6, 8. You know, this is not one of those. I didn't keep receipts. I should have. But what are you gonna do? It's a labor of love, this thing. It's my baby. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous little motorcycle, and I couldn't wish for a better one to start riding with. Like, for my first bike right after I got my license, 7 years later, this thing is still here. What a blessing. Thank you, baby.